All right, thank you so much, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'd like to really welcome everybody for taking time and attending today's session. So I see a few comments. Everybody has started off by introducing themselves. Thank you so much. Please also, if you have not yet done your introductions, please do feel free to write your introductions. Remember, let us know where you're coming from, the name of your host site, as well as if you're attending in groups, if you're attending alone, or if you are with your supervisor. So we're really excited to be welcoming Bilal coming again for our next Think Tank Thursday session, which we are currently having now. So the topic for today, it's really going through his book, which is the Stitches to Rex. So also, before we can start off and just go through the topic and welcome Bilal, please do write in your introductions. Remember that we will also be sharing the recording. We'll be sharing it via our YouTube channels. Please also take a look at that on a later stage. All right, so I see a few of you have wrote down your introductions. There's youth coming from Idilang, youth coming from Mercedes-Benz. Thank you so much for joining. We have youth in Pretoria. We also have youth in Columba, as well as youth coming from Rustenburg. We also have Petunia from Imbe under Hollard. Thank you so much for joining. And then we have youth from KZN, Africa Food for Thought. We have youth coming from Shirinda Primary School. So there's youth all over. Remember, we are located in around 7 provinces. So it's exciting to see everyone else joining us for our Think Tank Thursday session. So thank you so much, Bilal, for being here and also being our guest speaker again. We had a massive turnover on our last Think Tank Thursday session where we chatted with you about the ChatGPT, people familiarizing themselves with ChatGPT, how it works, how it can benefit their day-to-day duties. So thank you so much and welcome, Bilal.
Thank you so much, Dineo, and it's a pleasure to be here. I love working with youth at work. I love the kind of work you guys are doing. I love the reach that you guys have, and the enthusiasm and the excitement of the people that I generally speak to when you invite me. And it's such an honor to be called back. It tells me that something I said resonated, something I said people maybe liked, and I hope I can do better to serve this community and to deliver some real value to them. So thank you, everybody. Welcome aboard. And I hope that you leave from here a slightly different person than you entered. I think I'm hoping that you get some real value, some actionable tips that you can use to improve your own life and the lives of those around you. Dineo, may I get started, or are we still waiting for more guests? I see the numbers are still increasing.
I think you can start, Bilal, but I'm not sure if you're able to share the presentation from your side. Please try
I
doing
will
that. And
share it now.
all right, fantastic. I'm able to see your screen. I think we can proceed.
Can you see the IT Varsity logo?
Yes, perfect.
Fantastic. That is terrific. That is awesome. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. And I was actually looking forward to this conversation because I have a message for you. What I want to do today is I want to put some incredible power in your hands. I want to empower you with something that you can use to change your life for the better, the lives of those around you, and the lives of those people in your community. I want to give you certain skills that you don't have to take months and years to learn, skills that you're going to learn in the course of this conversation that we're having, that the moment we're done, the moment you come out of the Zoom meeting, you'll be able to implement My presentation is not very long, but the message is very deep and very profound. You can say that all my years of teaching and working with entrepreneurs, with people of all ages, with youth, it culminated in what I'm about to tell you now. And the points that I'm about to make and the power that I'm going to give you in your hands. Now it's up to you. It's up to you from this point whether you want to pick up this power and use it, or if you don't want to use it, it's up to you. But I've seen people around the world using it, and they found success in what they were doing. This is not some magical treatment. This is not some fairy tales that I'm going to give you. It's real skills that are going to be needed. Now, in the last conversation, we spoke about AI, we spoke about ChatGPT, and the impact that it's going to make on our world, and particularly on the world of work, on our careers. And there is concern. There is widespread concern wherever we go. I mean, this past week, I spoke at a teachers' conference. 3 weeks before that, I spoke at a parents' conference. A few days before that, I spoke at a conference of data scientists. And the concern is all the same. How is artificial intelligence going to affect our jobs? And what jobs are going to be left for us with AI? Now, the skills that I'm going to teach you are evergreen skills. What it means is these are the skills that you're going to use no matter what changes happen in the world. You can still use these skills for your success. Unfortunately, these skills are not taught at school, but you are learning them now. And I sincerely, sincerely hope that you derive benefit from this. Now, these skills I've mentioned in my book, as Dineo mentioned, my up-and-coming book is called Snags to Riches. Dineo, please make sure everybody is muted. Thanks. So it's my book, Up and Coming, Snags to Riches. What you can do is, after this presentation, you can use this barcode scanner to go and pre-order this book. And it's free. Well, the book won't be free, but right now, you can pre-order it. And for all those who pre-order, I'm giving them one chapter every 2 days. I'm sending out one chapter, just under 40 chapters. I'm sending one chapter via email every 2 days. And you have the opportunity to read my book for free before it comes out. And not just that, but you also have the opportunity to put your comments, email me your comments, or put it on our website under the comment section and tell me what you like and what you don't like about the chapter you've just read. And your comments will go into the final edit of the book. Your suggestions will go into the final edit of my book. So I'm very excited about this book. It's called Snags to Riches. Snags is another word for problems. So you go from problems to riches, 6 skills to turn problems into profits. How to monetize out of problems. Now you can see that there's a picture of a young lady who's standing there, who's looking into the light. She's looking into the horizon, and she's uncertain. She wants to go, but you can see she's standing. Rather than walking towards it, she's uncertain about the future. But you can see the future also takes the form of a light bulb, which is, in a way, trying to tell you that there's a lot of opportunity in the future. So it's not something we have to be concerned about. So you can scan this. I will share the barcode with you afterwards, but you can scan it and you can pre-order my book and start reading it immediately.
Sorry,
Okay.
Bilal.
Yes.
One more thing. If you can please stop sharing and reshare again, because there's a bit of scribbling on the screen. Everybody, please make sure that you're not writing on the screen and that you're always muted. Thanks.
Now it's unmuted.
Okay, I think it's It's
Thank you
fixed
so
up.
much, Bilal. Yes,
It's
thank
a
you.
pleasure. It's a pleasure. So I'm going to start off with the saying of Elon Musk, right? He's a man who needs no introduction in today's day and age. But there's one thing he said that I found very, very profound and something that I've experienced throughout my life. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems you solve. In other words, the bigger and the more difficult are the problems you solve, the more you get paid, the higher the rank you will share you will have in your company. Or for those who find a problem, solve it, and convert that into a business, they can find success in their businesses. And some of the biggest and most successful businesses in the world were started by people who were solving a problem. Now, moving on. In a previous, maybe a previous presentation, I might have shown you guys this picture here. And I might have asked you, what exactly is this? Now, I received a lot of answers, but in a nutshell, this thing is an MRI scanner in a hospital, in a children's hospital. Now, this scanner has a very interesting story behind it. And the story is this. Dinayo, somebody is not muted. I'm getting a lot of noise coming through. I think you can bulk mute everyone.
Yeah, sorry, it also muted you, Bilal.
Okay, I'm back. Thank you for that, Dinayo. Okay, so this is an MRI scanner in a children's hospital. Now, why did they design something that looks like this? It looks like a jumping castle. It doesn't look like a serious machine that is used for checking the body of a child, or overall health of a child, or scanning the body. Now, the reason this thing is designed like that is because the designers, they found that when children were going into a cool, I'm back. Somebody just keeps unmuting themselves, Dineo. Can you identify who that person is and ask them to not do that?
Sorry about that.
Thank you so much. Okay, so where was I? So they found that children were terrified of using this machine. And so the designers went back and they redesigned it to look like a children's theme park ride. And they said that when we saw children go from being afraid of using this to enjoying using it, we know we had succeeded. So what did they do? They solved a problem. They had a beautiful product. The product was perfect. It won international design awards. But the customer base, the people who were supposed to be using it, were terrified of it. And so they rejected it. So what the designers did was that they went and they redesigned it to make it more useful to its users, more friendly to its users. And in doing so, they improved their product, and not just improved the product, but it went into pretty much every children's hospital in the world, and it became a massive, massive success. So you see, they had a problem, they solved the problem, and they found success with that. So you can see what I'm trying to get at here. I'm trying to get at the fact that problem solving is the way of the future. Let's take this guy. This guy is Kabane Lami. He's a Senegalese youngster who is on TikTok. For those of you who are on TikTok, you will probably know him from his funny skits that he puts, his funny videos that he puts out. But his story is a very, very difficult story. He was working in a car company in Italy, and during lockdown, he lost his job, after which he couldn't get another job. After lockdown, he tried and tried and tried, he couldn't get another job, and he remained unemployed with no education, no prospects. So what he did was, he decided to go back and look at his situation and see what he could do with his life. And he came up with the idea that he will use his phone. He had a simple phone, a smartphone, that he will use the phone. He will record himself doing funny videos, and he would put that onto TikTok. So he started doing that. Initially, there wasn't much response, but eventually his videos caught on, and he became very famous, and he continued to grow until a point where now he has the world record for the most number of TikTok followers in the world. No other influencer on TikTok has as many followers as he does. I think he has about 150 to 160 million followers. And not just that, but he went from unemployed with 0 cent in his pocket, with zero prospects. He is now, according to some news site, he's worth about 18 million US dollars. 18 million US dollars. And that, my friends, is a lot of money. If you look at the exchange rate, it's like 360 million rands. I can retire on that kind of money. I don't know about you. So this guy went from zero to a multi-millionaire, immensely wealthy person. And he did that by solving a problem. And the problem he solved was the problem of his situation of being an unemployed person in a European country with absolutely no prospects. Now, in both cases, in the case of the MRI machine and in the case of Kabani Lami, what is the formula that they used to solve their problems, to find success? And not just them, every other successful person in the world, what is the formula they used to find that success? And that's what I want to talk to you about. That's what I want to share with you. Because I've done research over years and years and years, looking at successful people, studying them, speaking to them personally, those that I could speak to. And I had to understand, what is it about them? What is the formula they used to become successful? Because that's what I'm interested in. I don't want to win the lottery. I want to solve a problem and become successful through that. So how? Now, these people, they had one secret. They didn't wait for opportunities. Nobody came and gave them a job. Nobody came and told them, this is what you need to do. Nobody gave them money in their hands. Nobody gave them any grant. They found the opportunities themselves, and they grabbed those opportunities and they made a go of it. Now let's get into their formula. So there's the formula here, and I'm going to give you a walkthrough on this formula in a minute. But let's start by looking at the formula. First and foremost, I want you to notice something. I want you to notice that I put them all in a circle. All these cards are in a circle, and the arrow at the end of the circle is pointing back to the start of the circle. So now that you've taken note of that, let's go through each one of these points here. First and foremost, the first skill in the formula, the first action is critical thinking. Now, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is when you look at the world around you and you analyze this world, and you are able to distinguish, you're able to describe what you like about it and what you dislike about it. That's one of the meanings of critical thinking. What needs to change in the world? So, for example, you've got a people living in a neighborhood, right? And On the main road of that neighborhood, there's a pothole, a very deep pothole that can potentially cause a lot of damage to your car if you hit it full on. Now, every day, all the people, all the residents of that area get up in the morning, jump in their cars, and they go in on that road, and they know the pothole is there. So what they do is they drive around it and they carry on. That's what we generally do. But then you got this one person who will stop there, and he will take a photo of that pothole, and he'll say to himself, this is wrong. This needs to be fixed. And so he goes in, he takes those photos, he sends those photos to the municipality, he sends them email after email, phone call after phone call, until that problem is solved. Now, this person solved the problem, but not for himself, not just for himself, but for everybody. So he's the person who looked at that situation critically and said, something needs to be done about this. Right. Now, if you look at all the successful people in the world, that's what they did. They looked at the world and they said something needs to change. When the freedom fighters of South Africa looked around them, they said something needs to change. This world is not a good place. The way this country is being run is not a good place. When Steve Jobs looked around the world, he said something needs to change. So critical thinking is that ability. Right. Now, once you realize something's wrong with the world, the next step is the change mindset. The change mindset is when you decide for yourself that I need to do something about this. And I will not stop until something is done, until I change myself or I change this condition around me. That's the change mindset. And it's not an easy mindset. It's a difficult mindset. But we all have the capability to create change. But before we can create change in the world, we need to create change inside our heads. You make a firm commitment to yourself. You wake up in the morning and say, today, I'm going to change myself and I'm going to change the world around me. If you look at the likes of Madiba, before he went and started making the change in the country, he had to make a change in his own head. Before Kabi Lami, the Senegalese youngster, became wealthy, he had to make that change in his head, that I am now going to go through a major change. And that change is, I'm going to do whatever it takes to become successful, and I'm not going to stop until this problem is solved. See, it's a contract that you make with yourself. It's not a contract you make with anybody else. Remember, when you're an entrepreneur like me, there's no boss that's going to force you to do something. If you're a person that wants to make a change in the world, there's no boss that's going to push you, no HR department. You have to sign a contract with yourself and say, I am going to change myself, my thinking, and I'm going to change this world. I'm going to make this world a better place. Right. So once you do that, then you go to the next step. Now that you have made yourself ready, it's like putting on an armor. It's like a soldier, a warrior going out into battle and putting on an armor and saying, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for whatever it takes. So then you go into complex problem solving. Now, this is the core of it. This is the core of changing the world. What do you do? So let's look at Kabi Lami again, the youngster, the TikTok youngster. So he decided now, he made a contract with himself, a promise to himself, I'm going to change and I'm going to change my circumstances. The next thing is to solve the problem. Now, unfortunately, problem solving is one of the most important skills that we are not taught at school, right? Yes, in maths, they'll give you some problems to solve, but that's not problem solving. That's not a real world problem solving. Real world problem solving is where you look at the situation, the whole situation, and you look at each aspect of it. You break it down into smaller parts. And then you attack each part separately. So instead of solving one big problem, you solve one small problem at a time. So you can imagine Kabilami, the TikTok guy, when he found himself unemployed, he said, well, I've got to solve this problem here. How do I become self-sufficient, and how do I become wealthy? So then he starts working backwards from there. Okay, I've got a talent for making videos, funny videos. Okay, I've got a smartphone. Okay, I've got a TikTok account. Okay, I know how to record videos. Now he has to teach himself all of these skills now. Record videos, post to TikTok, etc., etc., etc. Problem solving skills, guys, is one of the most critical skills, like I said. And if you can solve problems, listen to me, listen to this very carefully. If you can find a problem, solve that problem, and then find somebody who will pay you for your solution, right there, you got yourself a business. Right there, you've got yourself a potential idea for making a lot of money. The bigger the problem, the more money you will make. I know this person, and I'll give you an example. I know this person, a young lady based here in Durban, who sells secondhand clothing on Instagram. And she's doubled her income. She works a full-time job and she sells these clothing in her part-time. And she's doubled her income, literally doubled her income by doing this. Now, what did she do here? You see, she had a problem. The problem was she couldn't afford to buy expensive clothing from the stores. So what she used to do was to go to the streets and buy secondhand clothing. And she used to take them home, wash them, clean them up, and use them. Okay, she solved her own problem. But one day she realized that I'm not the only one with this problem. There are thousands and thousands of people around the country who have the same problem. They can't afford to buy high-end fashion, and everybody likes to look nice. So what she did was she decided to take that problem and solve it for others through Instagram. First, she started with her own friends and family and community, and then her following started to grow and grow and grow. And within 2 years, she was a very, very successful business person. See what she did? Solve a problem, make money out of that problem, and she's got herself a business. She started selling those secondhand clothing on Instagram. Rather than just using it herself, she started selling it. Right. Once you've solved the problem, next you need to be creative. Once you found a solution, because remember, just thinking up a solution is not enough, right? Let's take the lady that's selling secondhand clothing. So she came up with the idea, I'm going to solve this problem for others. I'm going to sell secondhand clothing on Instagram. What comes next? The next part is very, very important. How do I make people around the country know who I am and what I do? How do I make people come to know about my business? This is where she had to get creative in marketing her business. And what she did was brilliant. What she did was brilliant. She went and taught herself photography. She did a course in photography and videography. And she started putting those clothing into different types of light and experimenting what kind of light makes it look the best. And then she took it one step further. Every time somebody ordered, she would make a video. How cool is this now? She would make a video of her wrapping that person's clothing that they just bought, packaging it, going to the post office, delivering it, and then she'll say, hey, Dineo, your order is on its way. There's it here. And that thing would go. And people loved those videos and they started sharing them. See the creativity? So she applied her creativity. We all have creativity. There's no one on this planet that's born without creativity. We all have it. We just have to learn to use it. It's like a machine inside our heads that's off most of the time. but we need to use it. The next important critical skill for the future is collaboration, right? Collaboration is when you work together with other people. So think about this young lady that's selling secondhand clothing. She established a relationship with the people selling the secondhand clothing. That's a collaboration. That's a business collaboration. She needs them, they need her. Without one or the other, the business won't work. If they are not the people, if it weren't for the people selling the clothing, this lady would be out of a business. And if it wasn't for this lady, those people would be out of a business because they are supplying her. Some of them became her sole suppliers. And finally, communicate. Take your idea, tell the world about it. This is another very important skill that we completely lack. We don't know how to talk to other human beings. And that's a problem because if you want to sell a product, there is a way to sell that product. You have to write marketing copy. You have to stand and deliver, stand and talk to people about your product. Hey, everyone, I'm selling this and you need to buy this. So the question is, why do I need to buy this? So part of your communication to me, the person who's selling this item, you need to convince me why your product is the best product for me to purchase, why I should purchase your product. You see, this level of communication, nobody teaches us at school. I don't remember ever at school or at university anybody telling me how to write a very convincing advertisement or a very convincing marketing copy to sell this, so that a person who sees my marketing copy will say, yes, this is the one I need. This is the product that I need. So that is something that we are seriously and severely lacking. So now these are the 6 skills that I cover in my book. Obviously, in the book, I cover them in a lot more detail. And I give examples, more examples of how people have followed these 6 skills and have found success. And I give alternative examples of people who could have, but didn't follow these, and they quit and they never found success. But remember, it takes commitment. It takes hard work. It takes patience. You know, there was a study I came across. I actually put out a TikTok video about that today. There was a study done in Silicon Valley in California to see which entrepreneurs were successful and which were not successful. And what they found was remarkable. They found that 99% of those, 99%, this is not a made up number, this is an actual number, 99% of those who stayed in the game became successful. 99%. They stayed in the game. They stuck with it. Others might have left. They might have gone to another company and said, well, I'm going to go and work. But the startup founders, those people that started their businesses, and they stuck with it. Maybe it took them a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years, but they found success because they stayed in the game. Now you'll say, well, 4 years is such a long time, 3 years is such a long time. But do you realize that the lockdowns happened in 2020? It's already 2023. Guys, that's 3 years gone. That's 3 whole years gone. What happened in that 3 years? What was the productivity? If I gave you a time machine now with these skills that you have to go back into lockdown year and start a business that by today would have been profitable, would you do it? Yes, you would, because now you know. So now I'm telling you, imagine that you are a time traveler who came from 3 years in the future and you are setting up your life for the future. You get what I'm saying? It's very, very important. Now, this guy, let's come back to Kaby Lamy. Kaby Lamy became extremely successful in his TikTok, but not just that, he became a global celebrity. Because look at the guy he's sitting with. I don't know if you guys recognize who he's sitting with. Do you guys know who's that? Anybody?
Yes, we know him.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's Idris Elba, right?
Yes.
One of the most famous actors in the world. He's a
Yes,
superstar.
yes.
In fact, there's a movie I saw of his on Netflix the other day. It's a new movie, very, very interesting. But you see now, this guy went from unemployed, a little nobody, loafing in the streets in Italy, to a global celebrity. Now, who did this for him? No one. He did it himself. Not only did he act with Idris Elba, he acted with Tom Cruise, he acted with Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's incredible. They are using him to promote their movies. Imagine Hollywood is using an African young man who was a nobody 3 years ago to promote their movies. This is the world we are living in, guys. Now, let's take another example before I conclude, right? The example I want to give you is of a person, a lady at home, who is in financial difficulties, right? And then she decides that I need to do something with my life, right? So critical thinking now. This situation sucks. This situation sucks big time. I hate it. I hate the fact that I don't have enough money. I hate the fact that I can't buy my kids good things. I can't put them through the best schools. I hate the fact that every month I'm scrounging to pay rent, that I have to go and ask for help. So that's critical thinking. That's her looking at her life very, very critically. But she doesn't just stop there, because a lot of people do that. And this is what will differentiate you from the rest of the population. Everybody complains. You go for a bride together, sitting down, you go for a dinner, friends are sitting, having some drinks together, go for a picnic, go for a social gathering, everybody is complaining. So you got a lot of critical thinkers, but very, very few people go to the next step, to the change mindset. Very, very, very few people. Guys, that is the thing that separates a complainer, a whiner, from a successful person. That change mindset. I want to lose weight. I want to have a summer body, but I sit and I watch Netflix every evening. I want to become wealthy, but I sit and I waste time on social media every evening. I do nothing. See, critical thinking is one thing, but going to that point where you sign a contract with yourself, I need to change. And I will change, and I will change the world around me. It has to be in that order. The world is not going to change you. You have to change you, and then you can change your circumstances. That is so important, right? So this lady, she goes now from critical thinking to change mindset. Whatever it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter what effort I have to put in, I'm going to change this. When that happens, guys, God and the universe come together to help this person. Nothing can stop this person. Nothing. Next, she goes into complex problem solving. So she asks herself, okay, I need to make money. What do I do? There's no chance of me getting a job because I don't have prospects and the jobs are paying peanuts. What can I do? So she sits with pencil and paper and she lists all the things that she can do to earn money. And then one of the things is this: people tell her, you know what, Gogo, you make delicious pickles. Why don't you bottle them, traditional African pickles, bottle them, put a pretty label and sell them? She hits on that idea. Problem solved. One problem solved. Now comes the creative part. Now that she's bottled the pickles, how does she go to market with it? She needs a website, she needs social media, she needs some graphics, she needs, it's too much. What does a go-go know about all that? That's where collaboration comes in. So she goes to her friend, says, hey, isn't your daughter is a graphic designer? Isn't your son is a web designer? Will you not help me out here? So then they say, okay, collaboration. Let's see what we can do. And they work together to help her. Steve Jobs said, we this is one thing we are afraid of asking for help. Steve Jobs said, I've never asked a person for help in my life that they never helped me. In my business, in my office, my favorite word, and ask my staff, what is my favorite word? They'll say, I need help. When any of my staff walk into my office and say, Mr. Bilal, I need help, I get so happy. I get so happy. See, collaboration, talking to people where you don't know, you ask for help, people will help you. So now Gogo went from creativity, she needs to be clever about it, to collaborating with all these young people who know the technology. They do everything for her, and off she goes, hit the market, communication, talking to the world, talking to everybody, putting on marketing copy, putting on videos of her making the pickles, because her niece came up with an idea. Gogo, why don't you make a video of you making the pickle and bottling it? People will find that interesting. Good. See, that is communication. That video itself is community. Now people will watch that and say, wow, this is nice. Wow, that looks delicious. I'm going to try it. Let's place an order. And then she's got herself a business. She's got herself a business. And she's going to find herself in a position where she's now slowly but surely coming out of that negative situation that she is in. That situation where there's not enough money, the situation where she's battling and suffering and struggling. Everybody has the ability to improve their lives, but we just need that. See, that change mindset, the universe will conspire to help you when you decide with your heart of hearts that I'm going to make a change. So now, what do we have to do? We have to race. And I don't mean get out and go to the track and start racing. Race is a acronym. Us IT people, we love our acronyms. The R stands for read, learn, keep yourself up to date. Second one, anticipate problems and opportunities. When you read and you learn, you can see opportunities. And then when you see the opportunities, create solutions. Create. Don't keep it inside your head. Your ideas are too valuable. The moment you get an idea, take a pencil and paper and write it, or go onto your blog and write it, and start creating a solution. Don't keep it inside your head. It doesn't have any value inside your head. When you bring it into the world, you give birth to that idea by writing it, by creating something. That's when it gets value. And finally, execute. Only results count. Execute, action. Execute means action. Get down to action. So now you can start reading by reading my book, right? So my book, read it one chapter at a time. And I promise you, it's an easy read. It's easy chapters. It's not hard. Get yourself into the habit of reading. I know young people don't like reading. My sons also, they don't like reading. They get headaches. But read one chapter. I'm not asking you to read the whole book. I'm sending you one chapter every 2 days. Just read that. And these are short chapters. I kept them to 500 words, and each chapter is a story. People love stories. So read the story, read the lesson, move on when the next one comes, and give me your comments. I want to hear what you say. I value what you are saying, because my book I wrote not for me. It's not for me. It's for you. If you find it good, if you find it useful, it's good. If you don't find it useful, well, there's no point to it. With those few words, I will conclude, and I will take any questions now. Let me go back. Oops. I want to bring that slide back. Yeah. So you can scan the barcode. In the meantime, Dineo, are there any questions?
Well, first of all, before we go to questions, Bilal, thank you so much. A really, really big thank you for being online, for sharing your wisdom, for writing a book and putting it out there to the world. So we so appreciate you. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Erika. I didn't actually know you were present. I would have been very nervous.
No, it's a
Erika,
beautiful presentation. And I think the key to all these presentations and things is the simpleness, clear, simple, to the point, and easy to understand. So, yeah, you communicate that so well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so guys, if you have any question, I would suggest that you raise your hand so that we can have a bit of order. I've seen a hand from Vuisile. Do you have a question, Vuisile? Please also feel free to write your questions on the chat box.
So there is a question in the comments, beautiful question from Duan 2K. How do you find the motivation to continue after hearing many, many no's? It's this, Duan. It's the change mindset. See, when your mind is set on something, the human mind is such a powerful thing that when you have it set on something, no power on earth can stop you. You have to have the firm belief in yourself and the firm commitment to yourself that no matter what happens, I'm going to make this work. And so when you get the no's, when you go through the tough times in your business, you keep that contract you made with yourself in front of you at all times. And not just that, but you keep your vision in front of you. What is your vision? I want to be in a bracket where I'm earning a comfortable salary. I'm living in a beautiful home. I've got a car. I'm looking after my parents. You got that vision in front of you. That's why they say keep a vision board at home with all the pictures of what you want. Put it on your mirror, on your bathroom mirror, so every day you see it. That will remind you, that will pick you up. I promise you, as experienced an entrepreneur as I am, I go through that regularly. I have burnouts. I have times when I just want to quit, but I remind myself of the vision and I keep going. Thanks so much for that question.
Yeah, and I think, you also need to be open. So in some cases, in our case, we started Youth at Work to tackle youth unemployment. So that's a massive, massive, massive problem. And we know that we can't do it alone and it's too big. And so we collaborate and we find a little piece of the problem that we can solve. And then we become the best at solving that little piece of the problem. And that's how you refocus. I think you focus, but you also refocus, Bilal. I'm sure you'll agree.
100%. And I've seen, what you guys are doing is amazing work. And it couldn't have been easy, Erica, getting to where you guys are, working with so many people, such a diverse population of young people. In the couple of interactions that you and I had, I saw how you guys work, how hard you work. And it takes true commitment. So there was a question around how to scan the barcode. You just use the camera app of your phone, guys. So you just go into camera and you hold it in front of the barcode and you'll see a little URL will pitch up. If you're not winning, let me put the IT Varsity web address, itvarsity.org. So there's the IT Varsity website. If you're not winning with the barcode, go to the IT Varsity website. There on the home page, you'll see a picture of my book. Click on it. It'll take you to the page where you can pre-order. I see Neo has a hand up. Jaden has a hand up. Dineo, you want to unmute them?
Oh, yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yes, I was the one that asked how to scan the barcode. So thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right, Jaden, do you have a question?
Sorry, Dineo, can I just ask you also to get the two surveys ready? One, the link for the attendance, and the other one on the SMME development, really just to get an idea how many of you have got a side hustle that you might be wanting to turn into a business, and how many of you already started this entrepreneurship journey and have registered a company. Just a couple of questions around that, which we'd really appreciate your input on. So if you can look out into the chat, and Janelle will put those two links in, we'd much appreciate your participation.
All right, thanks, Erica.
I see Akuna's hand is up.
Yeah, hello.
Jaden, yes.
Hi. I heard you say that your favorite word is like to help other people, or how? When your employees come in, when they ask help, you're happy.
I come again. I lost you there for a moment.
Oh, sorry. I heard you say that you love help, asking for help.
So you mean in my business?
Yeah. Now I wanted a question on that because I wanted to start up my own, or I'm starting up my own business, and I have this trait where I just feel, no, I don't need help, or if there's anything I can do it myself. Is there any way to like, if you've had that, how do you overcome that?
So okay, that's a good question. So basically, see, I mean, you're just starting your journey, so that's fine. But as you go through this journey of entrepreneurship, you'll realize that entrepreneurship really teaches you to be humble, right? And you will realize very quickly that as much as you think, and this was me at a younger, much younger age when I first started off. You have this attitude that I can do everything myself. I don't need anyone. But over time, you start to realize that, whoa, maybe I can't do this. So you have to humble yourself and go and ask for help. And I promise you, whenever I asked for help, the help just came flying from wherever I did. But I was also careful also to give back something, to the people that were helping me. To the best of my abilities, I would give them a gift or something. So don't hesitate. Just go cap in hand as respectfully as you can and say, uh, dear sir, ma'am, I see that you are an experienced in what you do, and I need your assistance with this. It'll be a miracle. I promise you that one sentence will do miracles for you. And I can tell you stories. If you weren't running out of time, I would tell you stories from my own experience of people I asked for help, and that led to very, very big business deals. And I'm so grateful for that. Katleho?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Oh,
Pleasure,
all right.
Jaden.
Oh, okay. So my question is, how do you then know whether your fire has burnt out? Burnt out how? Let's say that you found a solution to a certain problem I could say business-wise, and then now you have done all you could to ensure that the business is successful, and now you feel that it's time. How do you not know that it's time to find another problem and bring a solution to that problem business-wise?
So do you mean that your initial business idea didn't work? Is that what you mean?
No, it worked. It worked greatly. You have done all you could. You've reached beyond your capabilities. But now you're looking in terms of saying, now I've done all I could for this business. I've marketed it. I've raised awareness. I've done everything I can. Now it's time to look for another problem and actually find a solution to it. Meaning, bring in a new business idea or
Fantastic.
business.
Fantastic. Look, this is something I learned from my father, right? And something I teach my sons also, that we as human beings, we tend to like diversity, right? So what entrepreneurs tend to do is, before we've, and I'm just giving you a prelude to your answer, before we've fully exploited one business idea, we want to try something else. Entrepreneurs are like that. But the lesson that I learned is focus on the one thing, and you might think that you've plateaued. You might think that, okay, I've solved this. But what my advice would be is, rather than finding another problem to solve, take the same problem that you are solving and find another market for it. So you've solved the problem, for example, in KwaZulu-Natal, take it to another province. And when you've covered the whole of South Africa, take it to the neighboring countries. So solve your problem. What I'm saying is grow, make your business grow vertically, right? So you just adding more. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because by solving that problem and growing vertically, you're building up your skill set in that particular space, and you're getting better at it all the time, as compared to if you go horizontally and bring another problem. Now what you're doing is you're giving yourself something new to learn. You're putting yourself in a disadvantage, right? But, and I'm not saying that's never a good thing. There's lots of scenarios where that's a good thing. But do you, I mean, and this is where mentorship comes in. So you go to your mentor and say, am I ready to diversify yet? So your mentor will tell you either yes or no. And almost every mentor will tell you that if you are diversifying your business, if you're going to solve the second problem, ensure that it's in an allied industry to where you are currently. Don't go into something completely different. It's counterintuitive. So let me give you my own example. So we've done pretty well with IT Varsity, where we are training people in the tertiary space. But now there's a lot of calls from people who want to teach their children coding. And so we've launched a whole bunch of online courses for children under the IT Varsity brand. So see, we are solving a different problem, but it's still online courses in technology, related but separate. Cool. I hope I've answered.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before I go to whose hand was up, there's Simiso and Monica also. Let's do ladies first. I hope I'm not being offensive by saying that in today's day and times. Monica, you want to go?
Hey, yes, I can go. Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. And you?
I'm good. I just wanted to ask a question about something.
Sure.
So, my side hustle was I was doing bunny chows on the street before I got into this leadership. So going forward, I wanna buy this. Do you know these smaller Nyana containers that you drive around just to sell food?
Yes.
Yeah, those containers. So I wanted to know if, do I have to register that kind of a business, or just leave it just like that?
Yeah, so I think there's two things, right? As long as you were running somewhat informally, selling on the street, selling from home, you can fly under the radar for a while, just till your business is proven and your business is successful. But what I would advise any young person is, or any person starting up, is to try and get your business registered as soon as possible, and try and get your bank account and things sorted out. Because look, there's an advantage and a disadvantage here, right? The disadvantage obviously is now you're going to reach a threshold where you're going to start paying tax. Okay. The advantage is that you can use your business registration and your activity in your bank account to go and raise funding, not just from the bank, but from venture capitalists. So, I mean, if you, for example, you've been selling bunny chows for the last 2 years, and you've shown a gradual growth in your business. Now, if you can prove that growth through your bank account and your bank statements, you go to a venture capitalist and you say, look, I want to buy what do you call those things? Those trucks, the food truck. You're going to buy a food truck. They'll say, well, okay, your business has shown growth. We'll give you this money gladly. On the other hand, if you didn't have that records, if you were just selling cash, buying and selling cash, then they'll say, well, do we have to take your word for it? We don't really know. So I would recommend, plus there's lots of other benefits, right? You could go to SIDA, you could go to NIDA and raise some capital there, but you need some kind of evidence that you have been running your business. Then as far as the taxes, look, we all have to pay taxes. What you need to do, and this is my experience, is get a very clever accountant to work with you to find ways that you can save on taxes, because the last thing you want is for your business to be now A, completely drained out because you paid so much taxes, or B, you don't want to get into trouble with the tax man because you haven't been paying taxes. That's the worst worst possible thing that can happen. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it answered. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And just by the way, guys, I'm going to put an email address out here. This is my email address. If you have any questions at all relating to your business or careers, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to mentor you. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. Simiso, let's talk to you, sir.
I'm going to email you, Bilal. We need to market some other product which we're not getting off the road. So I'll be in touch with you.
Are you still based in Pretoria, Erika?
No. We're in Craigle Park in Randburg.
In Ram. Okay, I'm in Joburg later this month. I think maybe we should meet up. I want to.
Fantastic. That would be great. Thank you.
Lovely stuff. Okay. Simiso.
Last one, and then we will close. We try and close on time. So Simiso, short and sweet.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bilal.
Good afternoon.
First of all, thank you for the informative session. It was very helpful in many cases. I think for me personally, where there's still a bit of a question mark and a dry area is when it comes to like the execution part, because you gave us that acronym, the RACE acronym. So it kind of breaks down I don't know if you can say it's the order of how to do things. But when you've basically got the idea, got the, I wouldn't say proposal, but have really got like your portfolios, and then it's the executing part. So who or where do you think the right doors are to start knocking on in terms of, do you start approaching your local municipalities, or do you actually approach individuals in that manner? Because as a person that has like a certain particular idea and in an industry that I can say that has been, I wouldn't say overly saturated, but it's proven to be a successful industry, to try break into that type of industry, you also become afraid in terms of like, if you're coming with innovative ideas, that maybe you might just get shunned, or maybe someone might bring you closer only to just like, basically not necessarily steal your idea, but because there was a case where I spoke to someone and just gave them not the full information, but just gave them a bit just to like suss out how that would happen. And then you get the feeling of that you might be used, or so what's the right procedure when it comes to like the execution of the venture?
So that's quite a loaded question. There's just so much to speak about there. But in a nutshell, I think coming to where do you go? So let's say you've got your product, you've got your prototype. First and foremost, right? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. What you should do is build a product that there are examples of it. There are successful models of it in the market. And what you do is keep the 5% rule in mind. Your product must just be 5% better than everyone else. They say when you're running from a lion, when you got a group of people running from a lion, you don't have to run fast as the lion. You have to run faster than the person behind you, right? So yeah. That's a good analogy for business. Just be 5% better than those around you, right? Then in terms of who you approach, should you approach government or individuals? Look, it depends entirely on the type of your product. But let me tell you something. As much as it may be tempting to go to governments and go to NGOs and go to and raise funds there, the trouble with that model is that it's unpredictable, right? Today you might get funding from the government, like we are accredited with the MICT CETA. IT Varsity is accredited. Now, the CETA will sometimes give you money for grants, that sometimes they won't. You can't make a business out of that. But our model used to be that we raise CSI funding from the corporate sector and from governments, and we've raised money from like significant corporates and governments. But now we realize that we can't run a business on that. So we are focusing on the individual, the business to consumer, and the B2B market. Now, these markets are massive. They are huge, especially if your product is of a nature that you can tap into the sheer volumes of the internet, right? And if you can do that, if you can tap into the internet and you can find a successful way to sell your products online, I promise you, if you spend the next 6 years of your life just figuring that out and you figure it out, you will never look back. You'll never think of government contracts and contenders and CSI funding and none of that, because this will be money that you are tapping into the volume of the internet. And I'll give you an example, right? About 3 weeks ago, I put out a video on TikTok. That video, at this point, it's standing at 150, close to 150,000 views. And the number of leads we got from that was incredible. So now, how much, in the old days, how much of money would you have had to spend to get that type of engagement? You see what I'm trying to get at? So I'm not sure about the model of your business, but you can see where I'm inclined. I'm inclined to the sheer volumes of the internet. I hope that answers it. But if you've got any more questions, don't hesitate. Drop me an email and we'll pick up the conversation from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bilal, for such a wonderful session. So I think we can just wrap up, guys. Please, if you have any other questions, please feel free to get in touch with Bilal. He has shared his email on the chat box. Please also make sure that you have completed the attendance register as well as the SMME surveys on the chats. Okay, I think we can wrap up. Let's all open our videos and say goodbye to one another.
And
Remember, you
everybody,
can
everybody, unmute. Now you can unmute.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Bilal.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.